Call this meeting to order. This is our May 13th, 6 p.m. meeting. Welcome to everyone. And all members are present with the exception of Dr. Eversole. And we have the honor of a couple of students from Heritage who are going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ian and Piper Lee, if you will come up here, Ms. Nemo is going to read a little information about you.
We have Piper Lee. She is in 3rd grade at Heritage. Her teacher is Mrs. Whittington. Her parents are Jamie and Bobby Lee. Piper loves art and creating. She plays soccer, basketball, and softball, where she is practicing to be a pitcher. She is involved with Cherokee Culture and Language Club and loves school. She also has a passion for taking care of animals, especially her bunny Patches and her new puppy Teddy. Her little brother is Ian Lee. He's in 1st grade at Heritage in Miss Pear's class. Also parents Jamie and Bobby Lee. Ian is a people person who doesn't meet a stranger. He loves being involved in all things and going on new adventures. Ian plays football, soccer, baseball, and basketball. He also gardens with his grandparents and enjoys gaming.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have something for you guys here. Red or green? This is green. You want green?
You're gonna stay up here, Ian. You gotta get a picture.
Gotta look over him. He's looking at Mr. R and Mama and everyone else. Hang on.
This is the one that Jones is gonna see, so we gotta do a good job, she'll be mad. Alright, here we go. Perfect.
Thank you, guys.
Coach Cloud was happy that we got a pitcher in training.
Oh, that's
Thank you. Item B, Tigers Roar. We have our soccer all-staters and Coach Hall and Coach McKee. And both teams, right? Correct? Girls soccer team and boys soccer.
Yes, ma'am.
Would you all like to come up? Students, come.
Oh, we're supposed
Introduce your.
Well, thank you guys for having us again. This is Ethan Hill, Darren Ward, Reese, Coach McKee. This year, these guys were selected All-State, and it was easy for me to coach them because I've had them since 7th grade, and I've known them before then. So I've seen them from here to know almost taller, more handsome than I am. But just real quickly, it was an absolute pleasure this year. Last year was kind of heavy for me, but this year was an absolute pleasure to coach the boys, and these two guys made it easier. So I could talk to them and then communicate with the team. But Ethan and Darren will be missed by me, and I'm sure by Mom watching. So these are All-State guys.
So we had 2 this year, first time since 2017 that we had 2 girls. Danae, I think, is parking the car somewhere. Yeah, the parking's a little tight sometimes. So I've had them for a while as well. I coached them in rec when they were freshmen in the infamous Telequala Bears team. They came out and ran around circles, did a great job, and you know, This one, she is, starting in July, she's gonna be on the TU Spirit Squad, the Palm Youth. So second year in a row, I've had one go to TU Spirit Squad. We're cheerful of the team. But her freshman year, to make the varsity team, she was asked to be the hype girl. We put her on the bench to be the hype girl. And she did a great job cheering us on. Doesn't surprise us that she went on to start her junior year and then go on to be the captain. Great captain this year. Her and Cassie Tyner. Very proud that she played with me for 4 years. Going to miss her. She's really good friends with my daughter, so I'll see her. I go out and watch TU games, and there's Grace for 40 minutes. And there's going to Grease right there. So I'll get a lot more of Grease. And this one, I'm glad she made it well. Danae Gord, another one from the freshman year, played rec. Started her sophomore year. She played CDM. Won every 50-50. Everybody loves Dee. She has a great personality. She actually signed with Connor State. So her and the goalie, Ashley Hernandez, are the first two Tiger girls I've had that are mine that I've coached in high school go on to sign with college. So we'll be watching her at Connor State next fall. So very proud of these two. They did an excellent job. Good thing.
Still too short behind those boys. Get the windows.
Thank you, guys.
Did you guys have?
There's 2 seconds before we move on. I know that this is National Sign Language Pathology Month, and today's actually the day, and we're honoring those. And our group has always been able to come and present, and they weren't this evening, but Miss Emily Freeze extraordinaire went ahead and brought some things for you, so I just wanted to give a shout out to you. Thank you for being here, thank you for what you do for the district, and thank you for the information that you've given our board members this evening.
Right, public to be heard. Have anyone who wishes to speak? Item D, discussion and vote to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. This is our April 15, 2025 regular meeting. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second. Any discussion? Ms. Nemo?
Aye.
Aye. And Mrs. Crawford? Aye. Item E, already in place. Deputy Treasurer to report and discussion and vote to approve the monthly financial reports.
Our bank balance at the end of April was $22,606,205.64. Receipts for general fund for the month of April was $3,893,996.50. Building fund was $173,259.07. Sinking fund was $295,888.97. So that puts our general fund balance at $11,260,553.08. Building fund is $6,319,040.49. Bond funds is $762,578. Sinking fund is $3,061,877.41. Our activity accounts at the end of April was $1,297,549.11. Over to utilities. Our electric from last April to this April was $1,693 less. Our gas was more, but it was just a little bit more, it was $1,863 more. And the water was less, $1,405. So, that was a better month. You guys have any questions?
We'll just, like she said it last month, but just to remind you that those balances sound really high, and I wish that's what it was gonna end with. But we have 3 months of payroll, that we still have to pay out of that, so where I would love to say that we were miracle workers and we ended with an $11 million carryover in general fund, that would be not going to happen.
Where do we think we're gonna?
We're still sitting at about 5.2. So,
We talk about it almost every day.
yes, I check it frequently. So,
I have a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Any discussion? Have any questions? Mrs. Newman? Aye. Dr. Coffey? Aye. Mrs. Crawford? Aye. And aye. Item F, Principal and Directors Report. Two, this evening, athletics. Our athletic director, Matt Cloud. And then two, we'll have trial nutrition, Lacey Wilson, Colin Mays, and Jean Aldridge.
You want me to go first or Lacey?
Go ahead, Donna, if you're up first.
I started to print, but I thought maybe I was getting. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
As always, it's been exciting. It's a successful year for us in Title athletics. You got to see 4 All-Staters tonight. We had 3 others. Jacob Tiger cross country, Jordan Bredd wrestling, girls wrestling, Amelia Miller softball, Reese Coward soccer, Danae Ward soccer, Theron Ward soccer, and Ethan Hill soccer. Softball made our only team state appearance, and that was with 1 senior, so they will be back again next year. 4 female wrestlers qualified for state, 6 boys track, and 9 girls for track. Athletic scholarships and college signings, we had quite a few this year. Jacob Tiger, cross country, Oklahoma Baptist. Jordan Bredd, wrestling, Murray State College. Amelia Miller, Labette County Community College. That was softball, I'm sorry. JJ Antwine, football, Northeastern State University. Beckett Robinson, football, Columbia University. Levi Kelly, baseball, Asbury University. And that's the one in Kentucky. He wanted me to make sure to say that it's the one in Kentucky. Caden Tibbetts, golf, Jackson State University. Ashley Hernandez, Connor State College. Danae Gord, soccer, Connor State College. And Cash McElvain, Oklahoma Wesleyan University. It's really hard to get a college scholarship and to have that many. Kudos to our coaches and those kids that dedication. On February 15th, we hosted our 10th Annual Athletic Hall of Fame. It's a night dedicated to celebrating the legacy and excellence of Tahlequah Tiger athletics. This year, we had a record-breaking attendance. We had 61 tables sold, and that's obviously our highest to date. We honored a great group of athletes, coaches, and teams. Richard Davis, wrestling. Mike Revis, wrestling. The 96 baseball team. Coach Wilson Fargo, Coach Bart Frank, the 1971 baseball team. We did that because they both had a bunch of crossovers. They had fathers that were also on the 96 team, and they were, as you can see, 25 years apart. And Dana Reese, the athletic administrator, she was kind of the brains behind the operation for a lot of years, and we thought she deserved it. Fundraising this year, we had a very good year with sponsorships, gate receipts, and concessions. As of May 9th, we did $526,094.32. I gave you the long-term strategic plan for athletics. obviously, me and Mrs. Jones have spoke about it, and a lot of it's kind of a pipe dream. And the way we developed that, we started in December, and I sat down with every head coach and said, what do you, I want you to build your roadmap, what you're thinking. And then we compiled it, and it took me 3 months, but I got it. So it kind of goes by the athletic department's goals, then it goes sport by sport. You'll see some highlighted spots. That was what we know. When we started this in December, we didn't really know about the bond and some different upgrades. So now if it's highlighted, that's already in progress. Yeah, so I was proud of my guys. They took a lot of time to do that. It took us a lot of time to get it formatted the way we wanted. But it's a good roadmap. And really, we don't have the funding to do everything they want to do. I get it. They get it. But they're still going to work hard every day. I'm proud of that group of guys and gals. I'm ready for questions. If you have any questions, I'll probably better that way.
So I say on the plan that this was a really good plan that you and your coaches put together. I'm just very proud of this, but we think it's really imperative that, especially on where we're getting ready to hopefully have a bond resolution passed, and a vote on September 9th, that it's going to be a long-term bond. And so we need to be looking 5-10 years down the road in every one of our departments, so we know we are planning for the future. So athletics did that, operations has done that, with plumbing, parking lots, electrical, every piece of operations. We did that with technology, we did that with transportation. That way we need to be looking towards the future if we're going to do a long-range bond, and so that we are dividing our assets up to cover all of the things that we need to accomplish in those times. So there are lofty goals in here, some that would take a bond even after a bond. But hey, we're all about dreaming for the best things for our kids. So they did a really good job of giving information on what they would like to see in their programs. So thank you for that.
Matt, I have a question.
Okay.
I've had some complaints, of course.
Sure.
Is there a policy in the handbook anywhere that talks about cursing or degrading students, coach-wise?
I think in our coach's handbook, there is.
We need to do something to be enforcing.
Okay.
I've had a lot, and about kids being degraded in front of parents, out on the field, coaches cursing, calling kids names, that's very inappropriate. I don't know, it's really bothersome to me, because I feel like, we try really hard to bring these kids up and be responsible, and they need good mentors, because some of them don't have mentors at home, and these coaches are in the perfect position to do that. And it's not happening here in some of our sports, and I'm really worried about our kids. I'm worried that some of them are dropping out of sports because of it. And I just think some changes need to be made. I mean, we don't live back in the 50s and 60s where, coaches cussed all the time and called kids names. We live now where character development's a big thing, and making great citizens out of these kids. So I really think we need to have a discussion with all coaches and all assistants and just everybody. Because they're not allowed to, kids aren't allowed to cuss, I wouldn't think. The teachers aren't allowed to cuss, so I don't think the coaches should be allowed to do that.
Totally agree.
Thanks. Then I have one more question.
Okay.
On shirts, and I think Tanya said that y'all talked about that, can you explain a little bit about how you go about?
We have a purchasing contract for athletics through
Okay.
BSN. And BSN is one, Sequoia uses them, Keys uses them, Muskogee, Holbrook does a little bit, Wagner uses them. It's an exclusive contract with some exceptions. They have a first right of refusal. A lot of times they want to deal in bulk. They want to do team sales. We did some shirts the other day for track because the turnaround time was from Saturday to Thursday. They don't want to mess with 10 shirts, 12 shirts. So we give them first right of refusal. We have some tiers. If we hit this mark that we spent, we get this much back in not cloth, but hard items like baseballs, softballs, basketball equipment.
Okay.
And we've hit that. We've hit it every year that we've bid it, so we get the max amount of rebate. And basically, it's 8% of what you spend back into our program. I will say BSN, and I don't have anything against the local, I just know they don't have the buying power for Nike, and I know they can't price it the way we can. We're an N7 school, which is for Native Americans, students in schools, we get Nike at half off. Just because I knew they didn't have the buying power, I got quotes on that, and BSN was less than half for a stock polo shirt, and they can't even get football uniforms. Our teams want to wear Nike. We used to wear Under Armour, we switched to Nike. BSN's a Nike dealer. Nike doesn't sell to everybody.
Yeah.
So if we bought a Nike shirt from Santec, they would have to buy them individually. We wouldn't get the price cut that we get currently. I personally do a lot of business with both of them. And they know that. I talk to Adam Collins weekly. So they get it. It's just our buying power. It's just, I told some other people this, I told her this, if I only have this amount of money, I gotta make that stretch all year long. And that's kind of where we're at. And BSN's great. Anytime we need stuff donated, they do the kickoff club shirts every year for the golf tournament, no charge. And that's with all the ads on the back, and that's very detailed. Basketball tournament we used to have, they would give coaches gifts to every head coach, and every kid would get a shirt, no cost to us. They sponsor our Hall of Fame every year, a table every year. And not that the others wouldn't, I just know that they give back to keep our business.
And they do uniforms as well as shirts that you buy for
Yes.
coaches and t-shirts and everything that you order with the athletics. If it's not this quick turnaround, you use them.
Right.
So
You're talking about BSN, right?
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
uniforms, yes. They do the Nike. We have kind of some of our sports, their BSN has their own line of athletic uniforms. They're cut and they're made just like the Nike, and I'm sure they're built in this, or made in the same building, they just have different tags. So, a lot of our teams like to wear the BSN model uniform. I know softball does, and I know baseball has tops like that. Yes.
So do all sports have uniforms? Do we supply uniforms for all sports?
We don't supply well, we do if we raise the money, for individual sports. I've had some questions about some of the non-revenue sports, and those coaches know that I will help them any way I can out of my account. They've got to ask me, and they can't just say the day before, hey, I'm gonna order, we have to have some planning, and they have to have some skin in the game.
What do you, just so people understand, non-revenue sport, like,
Tennis, golf, we don't.
where someone you don't charge a gate.
Don't have, we don't have a
Okay.
concession, we don't have a gate. Cross-country's tough, but with the new fence, we think we're gonna make some money in cross-country this next year, so we're excited about that.
Why is that? Why is the fence?
Well, before you couldn't stop anybody from parking at baseball and walking in or parking
Oh,
across.
so now you can take admission at the
Admission
gate
at
for
the
them to
gate.
get in and watch, okay,
Mhm.
okay.
And we have always had, three sisters, always will have a trailer there for concession. So we did concession, when you're running 3 miles or whatever it is, you don't want a candy bar and a hot dog.
Right.
But now the parents may, especially if you're charging gate, so we think that that's gonna be more revenue for us. And our track is probably our best revenue sport, so.
And the fence is the new fence that's along, between baseball and the middle school.
I have a question about tennis. My daughter's gonna start taking lessons and I hadn't paid much attention before, but is there like bleachers or anything there? Or do they sit lawn chairs? What's
There's
the,
a lot of lawn chairs. A lot of times you can watch during one of our tennis tournaments when their child's playing, they sit there, and when they're not, they're at the car or they go eat. We do have 2 little sets of bleachers.
on the south
South
side, I
side.
guess? Okay.
A lot of times, and I don't know why, I guess I'm this parent too, I always sit down left field line when my kid's playing. They like to sit away from people in their lawn chairs, so.
I been by there when people were playing, but I don't know if it was a tournament because I don't ever remember, I drive by there all the time, I don't ever remember seeing spectators there. I don't know what they do.
A little, it's hit and miss, and it's usually, not all the parents come, but they usually bring their lawn chair. And the lights, I mean, those lights run every night, they're using those quite a bit, so that's.
I can hear the tennis balls from my house.
The lights were provided by a very large donation.
It was a large donation, we just had a little bit of responsibility, and it was well worth it.
Thank you for the donation.
What's the, what are you hearing about the, stadium in the bond? Is that,
I have not, I've talked to a bunch of people, I haven't heard one negative.
I haven't either, and I
And I tell people this, when I first came to Telequad in '08, it was totally different. You don't even think about stadium, you know, the people kind of shifted. And I don't know why, other than people are building these great stadiums and they want us to have one. You know, my first 11 years AD and my first few years, people were still on the field. Now we don't need that, we've always played there, that's where we're playing. And now those same people are saying, I want to get behind this, so.
I've surprisingly had the same reaction, and I mean, even 5 years ago, it was like, no, why would we do that? We play for free, and now, I mean, I think part of it is that the facility that we're using is not great, and.
It's not, and it's a challenge every Friday night for us. With limited resources to remedy the situations, we're always, you know, you have to have a phone call or a.
When we do get a new one, there will be no excuse for concession stand issues.
It should be nice, and he's referencing that, you know, in the bond resolution that we hope the board to call in July and then vote on September 9th. One of the pieces of that would be to build a true home stadium, not only for football, but for soccer, for band, for Little League that plays on that field every Saturday, for band competitions for the first time in history, so we don't have to go to an Owasso of the world, and we can bring those teams here. It's gonna be a revenue maker for our band. I mean, we've used the turf on that field every Saturday since we've used it. Our band practices on the field every morning, and we would be able to host things like graduation or even outdoor robotics things, or I'm thinking like drones and all the things that we could do on that field. The community is, I think they're ready. They're ready to have our own space, and so we have a design that will be coming out very soon that we hope to do if this resolution goes through and the resolution is passed in September. And I think that our community will be very, very proud of what our kids have in store for them for the future.
What is the lifespan on the turf?
It's warranted for 10 years. Well, you have to negotiate. They want to do 8, but you can always get them to do 10. So it's 10 years.
I was just, when they were doing the fields out there, they said 10 years, and I had never thought that, oh, they have to be replaced. I kind of thought.
And I will say, in my experience, baseball, softball wears out quicker than football because you're in football, you're over here, and then you're over here, and you're up here. In baseball, softball, you're all in the same spot all the time. Usually the infields on baseball and softball wear out before the outfield because there's more space. So yeah, 10 years. But if you take care of them, you know, I think if it shoots, it's 14. Now, it's bad, but it's old. And don't say it's bad, I'm not talking, I mean, I talked to John today about it, it's really bad, because they're getting new turf this summer, and they're gonna use our field for their workouts, so.
And NSU has been an amazing partner. I mean, they
Yeah,
have
we've
lots of years.
We've used a bunch of their facilities, and they've used ours, and we've opened our gyms for them to practice, and, it's a good partnership.
We'll be ready for the first time in history not to have an all-away game schedule. And it's what it is.
Truly
It's an all-away game schedule. We were speaking to the band instructor this week. You know, she said the truck trailer has to be loaded every game is a giant away game experience for them to get their instruments and things to where they can use.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have child nutrition. Colin Mays and Gina.
Okay, so I'm Lacey Wilson, Federal Programs and Grants Director in Child Nutrition, just falls right under that. So I have the privilege of working with Colin Mays
Jean Aldridge. Colin is the director of, I always say, all things operations, so food, ordering, all of those things. Jean is our chef, gives us all the great ideas and really does everything too. They kind of partner and just do a little bit of everything. We are a team. And then we have Casey Blue back here. She's the area director for Chartwells. And then Heidi made me promise I would not bring her face on a stick because I did that last year. And she threatened me and I'm kind of scared of her. And so I didn't bring it. But I do want to say that she is out on medical leave and she has still been working behind the scenes. So I don't want to leave her out and take all the credit here by any means. And I do want to, I'm gonna add a little bit to this presentation because I thought, why didn't I tell you guys a little more about CEP? So before we get going, I want the world to know that we're gonna do CEP one more year. I hope we keep going, but I can't promise anyone anything. Because you guys know I watch the budget very closely every single month. And we left Chartwells. And they are a little more expensive, but I think they're worth it. But I think that we watch it and we work together. And so I want to be as transparent as I can with you guys to understand the CEP process. And so I thought I should give them a little bit of information just so you kind of know. So we had to apply for CEP last year and we used our numbers, our direct certification numbers. And that's just all of our families that get SNAP benefits or food stamps. We work with the state and they certify, they make sure, that that's our percentage. And we are right at 53.99% of our students, okay? So then there's a formula. You multiply that by 1.6 and the state helps with this. And that lands us right at the numbers of, there's lots of numbers on, but we're just gonna make it really simple. 86% and 14%. So I wanna break this down just a little bit, just so you guys understand and know why I'm watching the budget so much. And then we'll get on to all the fun stuff, because they really have a lot more fun stuff than I do. But I just want you guys to know, let's work with 100 students, because it makes it nice and clean and easy. So 86 of those students, we get reimbursed for breakfast, $2.84. But the other 14 students, we only get reimbursed 39 cents. So it's free for students, but it's not free for us. So then let's talk lunch. So for every 86 students at lunch, we get reimbursed $4.54. But the other 14 students, we only get reimbursed 53 cents for lunch, okay? So then let's look at the big picture. Let's talk 100. We get, and when I say we make money, guys, we don't make money because I have to pay the bills. I have to pay the utilities, I have to pay all my workers, I have to pay pest control, all these things. When I start looking, I'm like, Janie Jones, why are you making me pay pest control? she said,
Don't pay her
it's
portion.
your kitchen. And I'm just like, okay. So anyway, I can really I've learned a lot, and I can really break this down for you if you need me to. But I'm trying to keep it simple for you guys so that you know why I'm every month about to hyperventilate, and why I'm trying to get people to eat more breakfast. So for 100 breakfasts, we make $55.70 for 100 of them. For 100 lunches, we make $9.86. And for 100 dinners, I didn't talk dinners. Dinners are different because we're at-risk dinners. We make $85. That's our supper meal. Make a little bit more on that. And I hate saying the word make money because I'm not into make money. I'm trying to make money to keep everybody to keep eating for free. Does that make sense? I'm not in the business of making money. And if the freezer goes down, I want to be able to afford to pay for it. So that's why we keep having monthly meetings. We pull Casey in all the time. I'm pulling out those expenditures, and Sabrina knows half the time I'm trying to make sure we're doing okay. And this month, I was so excited, and you'll hear her say it, that we didn't make it, we had a commodity credit. So we made 17,000, but we had a $20,000 commodity credit, so we really didn't make that much, but I'm going with it, we made the 17,000. So,
It's a really good loss there.
I know.
We didn't talk about
Don't
it.
say it, don't say it. So I say all of this to say, during this summer, and once again, I'm not trying to make money, but I just want you to, I wanna be transparent with you. For every breakfast, we get reimbursed $2.98, and for every lunch, we get reimbursed $5.21. So it's win-win. Kids get to eat, we get reimbursed a decent amount all the way, we don't lose money. And so, I just wanted, I know that was a lot to add in, and I haven't even started my slides yet. But the more I started thinking, I was like, I'm telling them we're doing CEP one more year.
Remind everyone what that CEP, what's.
Community eligibility provision, and that is, I just feel,
Federal.
yes, yes. I feel really lucky to be able to do it, and I hope that our kids and our families appreciate it. I just don't wanna promise it for years, but I wanna do it, and so we are working really hard to try to keep doing it. So I just wanted you all to know that's where we're at. So let's go on
And when
with
she
the
gave her
next.
examples on the 100, I mean, that was a good way to look at that.
Mm-hmm.
And you notice that she said, you know, breakfast is reimbursed a lot better
Right,
than, say, lunch.
right.
So if we get our breakfast count up, then what that does is it helps make the difference to pay for the other meals that are not fully reimbursed.
Right.
So that we could remain being CEP. Because at any point that it became something that became a cost to the district, it would be really hard for us to continue this, and we would have to go back to the free and reduced forms. Those babies would still get to eat free, but then everybody else would start to pay whatever their amount would be. So that's why breakfast numbers have been, you know, we've really worked hard and they've done a really good job
But yes.
of getting breakfast numbers up.
What percentage of students do we need to be eating these meals in order to maintain our eligibility?
I think we're doing it, and I do have some numbers. I'm a lover of spreadsheets, and so I keep all these Google Sheets with all of these different things, but I'm comparing this year's numbers to last year's numbers. And I will tell you in the presentation, we have gone up about 10%, and it's good, we're maintaining. My worry is that long-term, if you're only maintaining, what happens if our freezer breaks, which honestly, we have some carryover right now, we're okay. So I'm not worried too much, but
Ms. Jones will help cover that.
she will. I have to do pest control, but she'll help me if a freezer breaks. So right now,
Those purse strings real tight.
right now at lunches, we're serving around 79, 72, 76% of our students, which is actually pretty good. That's a large number of students. High school's a little lower, 43%, but that's not because they're doing anything wrong. That's because half the kids are off campus, they're at ICTC, and we know it's really not that cool to eat lunch. They're starving, you know, they should eat, but, and then for breakfast, we're hitting right at 20 and 25% everywhere. Heritage is a little higher, 42%. Elementaries are sitting at 40%, yeah. So we're gonna keep working and watching our numbers and pulling out all the tricks, but I'll let them talk about that. Sorry, I kinda hijacked them.
I don't know.
Sorry, you're first.
I don't know if it's a question so much as a statement. We received a communication about energy drinks and the problem with them. And I've thought about, you know, it's, in the elementary, we don't have vending machines at all, but in
Right.
middle school and high school, we have vending machines, but they have to meet like nutritional guidelines. And Ms. Jones sent me pictures of all of the things in all of our vending machines. And I'm curious about like kids bringing in, because I see even in the elementary, they're pulling Dr. Peppers out of their lunchbox. And, you know, if we should think about, you know, we have rules about what people can have access to.
Right.
And what we provide access to, you know, there are, I would assume, going to be considerations about even what they can bring in, you know, you
Right.
can't bring energy drinks in and drink them in class when you're middle school. And I'm just curious about that. I guess maybe more what we see in lunchroom, and I know my kids one day said, like, they were under this impression that if you brought anything from home, you couldn't also get a lunch, and you all had to spell that, like, anyway, even if they bring their lunch from home, they can go get a
Yeah.
lunch. And so I'm just curious if there's other, you know, I don't know, ways to make it cool to eat in the lunchroom,
I know.
and
So that's what we're trying to think of every day.
and I know you guys do, I see all your stuff, and the other one, again, this is just anecdotal from my kids. The kids that bring their lunch get to go sit at their table first, because everybody else has to line up, so they miss 5 or 10 minutes of their lunch period and talking to their friends because they're in line to get their food, and then they go to the table, and then they have less time to eat, and so, and I know this is, you know, logistics across different locations, and different cafeterias are different, but I think not that you all aren't enticing them with good food and options, but are there other little things that we could be doing? I wanna be clear, like, not to punish kids that bring their lunch, first of all, for nutritional reasons, there are some kids that have to, for allergy reasons, that type of thing. But just, you know, really, I just think this is so important, and I wanna be able to see us do this forever. I think feeding kids, you know, is one of the most important things we do, because there are a lot of kids that don't get nutritious meals if they don't get them at school, and I want this program to succeed, and I want us to do everything we can to get the numbers that we need to keep it going, and assuming the federal program keeps going.
I know, I kinda keep watching that over the side.
Can we possibly allow those who are eating in the cafeteria to be released 5, maybe 7 minutes earlier so they can get in line, or?
I think that discussion is up. I
mean,
mean,
it's
we
all
would have to
the
talk to
business.
principals and, yeah. I don't think anything's off the table. I think that we would just have to.
2 minutes out of class is an incentive.
There's already other kids in there.
Right.
So whenever
Oh,
you,
okay,
it's
yes,
like
that's
backing
true.
up to the
Yes,
one right
yes.
before
Yeah,
it.
they
and
get 5
so-
classes out,
You're
and
right.
there, you know, there's 100 kids in the hall.
Shoo 'em out.
Right, and then.
But I think it's
Especially
a good
on a
thing to
rainy
talk
day.
about.
But we are definitely up for
Yeah.
thoughts, and I think sometimes us even talking to the people that are there and know what's going on, maybe you guys have some better ideas too. We definitely do try to communicate with the principals, and, you know, we're just trying to help them, and so we want them to make sure they let us know if they see anything. Okay, sorry. Okay, that's, let's roll it.
Next slide, Rob.
I know, we're gonna have to get right.
On the agenda,
Sorry.
Lacey's piece. So guys, we're gonna talk a little bit about who we are, what we do, some of the fun stuff that we've done, talk about some good results, what we wanna do next, and then let you guys drill us with questions.
Yeah.
So next slide, so that's myself, Chef, then some of our hub support, you know, Chef Kat, you guys met Casey in Savannah, helps us with marketing, Meredith is our regional dietitian, and she helped us out during our AR, very awesome team member. So next slide, Robert. And these are our awesome teams, so we recently had School Lunch Hero Day, so time for us to celebrate our teams after a really awesome year. And next slide, Robert. So these are just a few of the services that we offer. You know, obviously we serve breakfast, lunch, and then our at-risk supper. We have a la carte options at the high school. You know, we prepare food on site, have fresh meals that are made from scratch, make sure that we're following within all the federal compliance and guidelines. And then we're always actively recruiting, hiring, training, and supporting all of our awesome associates. And I'm gonna pass it to Chef.
Thank you. Okay, so we follow the offer first serve pattern. So in breakfast, that means we're gonna offer at least 4 food items every morning. So for example, you know, Tuesdays we do kind of traditional breakfast. We'll have eggs and toast and a fruit like peaches or something, and then we always have juice in the mornings and milk. Now their juice can count as their fruit. So as long as they have 3 of those food components, they get to select what they want to eat. They've always got to have that fruit. They've got to have a grain or a meat alternative to serve with that as well. We're ready for the next one, Robert. Thank you. And then for lunch, it's the same thing. So we're going to offer 5 food components for lunch, and they've got to take at least 3 of those. So we've got our grains, fruits, vegetables, milk, and then our meat alternatives. For example, tomorrow, we're doing global eats at our middle school, so we're gonna do a lasagna that we make in our cafeteria, and then they'll have some Italian green beans, garlic knots, and lots of different fruits and vegetables available on the bar. So their lasagna will have their meat alternative and their grains in it. So sometimes it can be a little bit tricky to figure out, like, is this a reimbursable meal? Well, you got 2 of your components in that, and that they just need to add 1 more to it. That would be a fruit or a vegetable to that, and then they'll be good to go. Thank you. The National School Lunch Program, you guys are familiar with it. That is the USDA program that outlines the requirements for our students and what they need to eat. Like I said, USDA, we partners with school districts for funds for reimbursable meals. Reimbursable meal means it meets that pattern, and then as Lacey was talking about, we're reimbursed a certain amount per student. That is reimbursable meal that follows it. It must meet that meal pattern and pass compliance audits, which we just did, and we passed on everything, so that was really exciting, but we learned a whole lot from that. Requirements, fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains, low-fat dairy, and then there are limitations on sodium, sugar, saturated fat, and calories, and that is another thing we're watching for changes that are coming up to that program, and we stay up to date on that, and we'll follow those as they come out. And legislation, like it says, is proposed to require more restrictive weekly and daily targets by grade level. And here are some of our highlights. So Discovery Kitchen is a program that we do. It's for our elementary students, and we did a lot of those this year, and I will tell you the students absolutely love them. So the goal of Discovery Kitchen is to teach kids about food and to give them the opportunity to try new foods. So we'll take a recipe, we'll bring it out as a sample, and we'll pass it out to all the students, and I kind of think of it as like a no risk for them, because they like familiarity, right? They're comfortable with what they're familiar with, so if they're going through line and they've got a pizza up there or some other dish, they're gonna pick the pizza because they're familiar with it. So now they get to try something without missing out on the pizza. And usually when we do our Discovery Kitchen, we'll end up putting that item on the menu later on, so they've tried it, and then they'll go and they'll have it in the lunch line, and we definitely see them take it once they've tried it in the Discovery Kitchen. So it helps with our participation, and it helps them grow in their food knowledge, which is awesome. Thank you. And we did a lot, you saw those that we did. So every month, Discovery Kitchen through Chartwells has a theme. So they changed it up a little bit this year, and those are all the things that we'll have throughout it. We've got like Power Up, what's cooking, we're bring on breakfast, spice it up. So yeah, that's what we'll be looking for next year. And Mood Boost. Mood Boost is one that we did. The kids really enjoyed this too. It had a video series that went with it, so that was their favorite part, I think. But this is to teach kids about how our food makes us feel. So we would come in and we would bring certain items, and they have their moodies, which would represent whatever item we're trying to evoke through the food that we're offering. So, for example, we had the celery with sun butter, and we served that, and I believe that was Smart.
Smart.
Yes, that was Smart, that was our foodie. So they all got to try that, and all the elementary schools put it on their line, so they all got to try it. And it was really successful, the kids loved it. Whenever they see Colin Muir at a school, they're like, oh my gosh, we haven't even today, and I have to say, no, not today, next time though, I promise. So it's been really good to engage with them and to encourage them to come up to the line and to educate them a little bit. Sometimes they see something in those events and they're like, ooh, I want that. Like you said, kids didn't know they could get food if they brought something. We'll say, well, go get you a tray, and they'll go up and get it. So we really enjoyed that. Next one.
Cool.
Alright.
So I'll talk a little bit more about a couple of the programs that we've ran this year. And like Chrissy, like you said, like how do we engage these kids? Like how do we make them want to eat? A lot of that's just making it fun, because we have to compete with like sitting down and having time with your friends. I understand that totally. So Student Choice is a really neat program that we run. There are a myriad of different concepts that we can, kind of pin up against each other and let the students vote. So they get to try 2 different concepts. We did Big City Barbecue, we did Bok Choy. Let the students at the high school try it one day and vote. Let the students at the middle school try it maybe the next day or a couple days later. All the kids loved it. Like Chef Jean and I got swarmed at the tables. It's a little overwhelming, to be honest. But Student Choice is all about getting that student opinion and letting them know that we're there to listen to them, because their feedback is important, especially at that kind of age. That I think goes a long way. With the event that we did, Roberts, the winner was Big City Barbecue, which I think we all kind of anticipated being in town. So later in the semester, we got to feature Big City Barbecue for a week at each location. So we say, hey, this is what you loved, and here, let's celebrate it. So really fun event. Can't wait to do more of those in the future. What do we have next? So notable achievements. I just kind of put up a lot of the really fun things that I think that we've done this year to drive participation, get kids excited about eating in the cafeteria, and at the same time provide a fun and fresh meal. So we engage students through fun days. That's like the easiest thing for us to do. Print up a flyer and see how it incorporates into the dishes that we're offering that day. Dr. Seuss week, we had green eggs and ham to help get some buzz about breakfast. On the right, I loved Chef Jean's it's like a take on it. It's made to look like a fried egg, but it's a yogurt parfait. So we did that for April Fool's Day. We do a lot of scratch cooking and batch cooking. That's why the food is as good as it is, because we're trying to provide the freshest thing that we can for kids and faculty. Mood Boost and Discovery Kitchen, we talked about those. Thanksgiving, we got to do really neat Thanksgiving events at all of our schools this year, and had really good participation from the community. Fed even more kids and parents than we did last year. I think last year we fed 3,792, and then this year we fed 4,310. So an increase of over 500. And another really cool thing that we got to do was partner with the JROTC program. They did their inaugural awards banquet for their team, and so they were it's about 250 students and parents that we got to feed, and they're kind of setting up for it in the picture there on the bottom. But we're hoping to make that an annual event with that group, and maybe do some more caterings, because the team had a lot of fun, and I think the district really enjoyed it.
It's really good.
Yeah, thanks. And then we've recently started offering coffee at our Tahlequah high school coffee shop. Right now, that's all it's called. We need to think of a better name. But kids love it. The faculty love it. I love it. So if you don't know about the coffee there, come. It's super affordable and it's really good.
And it all meets those smart snack requirements that you were talking about.
Yeah, so everything in our a la carte that we offer has to be Smart Snacks compliant, so including that coffee. And so what are some of the things that we're doing? We use CDP combined with innovation to help meet students where they are, to drive participation and get students fed. So one of the ways that we did that was starting in January, or about February, is when we rolled out breakfast carts at the middle school and high school. We have one breakfast cart at the middle school. It's there to really capture those kids that are coming in through the front entrance, getting dropped off, and don't even see the cafeteria in the morning. So through that, we were able to see average daily participation, at the middle school go from about 135 in December to 185 in February, so a big uptick there. And then in the high school was kind of a ridiculous jump. We rolled out 2 breakfast carts there in 2 different locations, and that was also to capture all those kids coming in at those different entrances. And through talking with the band, they expressed wanting to have one open a little later, so we have a second chance breakfast carts that moves to the library to capture another group of kids. And then we also partnered with athletics to start giving 0-hour meals to those athletes working out in the morning. So all of those things combined, we were able to push our average daily participation for breakfast at the high school from 179 to 324. So really big uptick there. So we're hoping to maybe invest more in those carts and see kind of how we could continue to get more engagement. I'll let Lacey talk about fun stuff.
The results, go ahead. So this is just an average of what we serve daily. It's a lot of meals. Go ahead and go one more, Robert. So our goal was to increase by 10%, and we made it. We barely made it, but we did make it. So on average, we serve 32% of our students breakfast and 64% of our students lunch. So of course, we would love to increase that. Just trying to get creative, like you said. So keep sending those ideas our way, and we'll keep working with admin at all of the schools to try to do that too, especially those breakfast numbers. So then what's next?
So we are going to have new fall menus. So we've been developing those, finalizing those. We're gonna have fun days, global eats, mood boosts, discovery kitchen, those are gonna be built into our menus. So we're gonna get to do more fun days, more of those things that get students excited about going through the line and see that increased participation. We wanna focus more on a la carte, so making sure that we have Smart Stack compliant beverages and snacks. We wanna bring those to the middle school. And then we wanna bring smoothies, slushies, some more things to the high school that we can continue to enhance that operation. And we're always focusing on building a strong team. So culinary training through Chef and I, safety committees that we have at each school, and we wanna, lead and we wanna develop school relationships as well.
We do, we talk daily, but we meet once a week and then we meet with Casey once a month too, so it's a good partnership. So, this summer, like I said, the reimbursement, numbers are higher in the summer, and so I think, once again, it's win-win. Help our students and our families, we're gonna try to do it in July as well. Every Wednesday in June and July, they have pickup, the kiddos don't even have to be there, we do have to have the kid's name. They don't have to be a Tahlequah Public Schools kid, so they can be from Grandview or Lowry or wherever, and the parent can come through, but we do have to record their name, so that way we have documentation to give to the state. So we're looking forward to that. We have a team of people that have signed up to volunteer to help do that all summer, and it's gonna be super fun. And then on campus, the month of June, 3rd through the 27th, kids can come in and eat a hot breakfast and a hot lunch. So, okay?
Yeah, so these are just a bunch of our different concepts. I mentioned things that we can do for student choice, that's on the right. So different concepts that we can pair up against each other to engage students. And this is just a breakdown, just to showcase all the different types of cuisines that we try to offer to the students, keep it fresh and keep it engaged. Communication, so we want to keep you guys informed. And the parents and the students. So, we do that through social media posts. Hopefully you guys see those, get on and don't give us hate. Give us a little love on that. Monthly newsletters, up-to-date website info, and then we have our websites or our menus available online through NutriSlice. It has an app, and it's great. If you don't have it, please get it with 5 days of school up.
Yeah.
And then board reports like this one. So, and just thank you guys from Chartwell's and Chef Gene and I and Casey for really welcoming us and embracing us, and definitely feel like part of the team.
Privileged to feed kids every day.
And
That's it.
question?
We were not fast. I promise I would be fast, Cara, I'm sorry.
Colin, I just wanna say to your team, like for any questions or criticisms we have, I've eaten in the cafeteria probably a dozen times this year, and it is exponentially better. The food is, every time I go, I eat everything on the plate, it's good. I think we always have room to improve. One comment I have, and I know you guys did a waste thing, and this is kind of out of your control, but I mentioned it last time, and when I am in the cafeteria and I go down my plate, I see all of this food in the trash can, and I know they
So we have a
have.
program called Waste Not, and I wanna look at that next year. It's where we will partner with the schools and actually let kids weigh out their waste so they can kind of see that impact and help inform them and maybe.
I think so,
do the right things.
and I know they have like the little, if it's something that's not
The shared
open, like their
part.
milk or whatever, they can put back in there and someone can go get it, but obviously if it's a, burger on their tray, but you'll see some days where, the kids, and they're not gonna eat everything, but they only ate the fruit and the side, and then they throw their whole burger, their whole, chicken patty or what, and when you're dumping that in the tray and you just see all of that food in there, and it's just like, it kills me, cause it's just it's wasting money, it's wasting food that people could be eating, and I would love for us to be creative about ways to
Yeah,
decrease
I'll do
that.
some research and see how we could address that.
Thank you very much.
Anything else?
Does the other schools get smoothies and slushies, or is it just the high school?
So we
Just thinking
do have a
about it.
cold take option, where we can offer like a reimbursable smoothie. We do yogurt and fruit parfaits a lot at the middle or at the elementary schools, and the kids really like those. But it's not to say that we couldn't do a reimbursable smoothie as an option where they can still build that. Yeah, not as an a la carte option, I don't think that would be feasible, but as a reimbursable meal, potentially in the mix, yeah.
It would be better than all the part of the elementary.
Yeah.
A big draw to it,
Yeah.
middle school kids, because they're into those smoothies now and slushies.
Yeah, smoothie king.
You put anything in a fancy cup and they want it.
That's right. And it's cool.
But we love ideas, we want, I mean, any kind of feedback, and we'll run with it and try to grow from there.
They do all those fancy drinks anyway. They get them from us.
Exactly, that's what we say. Well, we know that we have a long way to go, but we feel like we're working hard to try to get there. So, anyway, if anybody wants any of those numbers that I was telling you earlier, I can email them out to you. Okay, is that it?
Thank you guys.
All right. Item G, superintendent's report.
520 employees right now, 3,607 students, 176 at pre-K, 441 at Cherokee, 491 at Greenwood, 499 at Heritage, 703 at TMS, and 1297 for THS and Central combined. And there are no transfer spots for the last 5 days of school. Project updates, our roof repairs have started all around the district, so we were super happy for that to begin, and over the summer, they will be finished. We have ordered the new marquee, digital marquee at the Performing Arts Center, and it is yet to be installed, but I believe that will be happening soon. I'm trying to catch Robert's eye, and he's ignoring me. On the barn, the building package, we have concrete footings, that's already, the building package is supposed to be delivered on Tuesday. And they tell me we might start to see some of the building erected on Wednesday, so that is super cool. We should be well within the time range for that to be completed before school starts for our ag children. So I said that. On the armory, we have a closing date with the city as of June 2nd. We would like to hope that the renovations would actually be able to begin by August 1st, which will hopefully be completed by January 1. I'm hoping December 1, but they say January 1, so it might be March 1. So we'll be ready for any of those dates. So that's all going well. We've got the 100% drawings on that. They will start to go out to bid on that, try to be as prepared as possible for as soon as it's closed, so we can just hit the ground running on that project. On our bond 26, we've talked a little bit about that this evening already. We have our list complete. We have renderings being made, some more specific renderings of some of the projects, so that will be what we get out to the public. I gave each of you a flyer with just some of the information. We will start. I've shared it like with Coach Cloud and all his coaches, with all of our leaders, and said as you go around and talk to groups over the next few months, sorry about that, to take this information so we're all, talking about the same projects, using the same language. We want to make sure our public is getting the correct information on what we are going to propose for you all to vote for on the bond resolution in July. So I can get that electronically to anyone who might want a copy of that electronically to share. Again, like I said earlier, the election date, if voted on, will be set for September 9th. So as soon as we do that bond resolution meeting in July, then we will just hit the ground running and try to talk to every person in the community that we possibly can about very specific projects. So super exciting things coming up for TPS. Our attendance, Sequoia was 90% in April, which was a couple percentage points down. Cherokee was 92.9, down from 94. Greenwood was 93.1 from 93.5. Heritage was 93.2 and it had been 94.9. Middle school was 91.3 and it was 93.2. High school was 91.5 and it was 91.8. So every school, which was odd, it's the first time all year long that every school dropped a bit, but they were all still 91% or above in their attendance rate, which was still good. Checked with Shauna, she helped me she helps me get these numbers every month on chronic absenteeism, just to see if some of our, every minute matters have done any good. And so it has, I mean, when you look at that. So Sequoia's chronic absenteeism, and that's a child that has missed more than 10% of the days, yes? And so last year, from
That's unexcused.
any absence,
Or any.
any absence period. If they've missed more than 10% of the days, they are considered chronically absent, and that's what a school gets graded on the school report card. So last year at Sequoia Pre-K, 34% of the kids were considered chronically absent. That's not uncommon at an early childhood center. They're little, it's the first time they've come to school, they catch everything, and when they are sick, they don't know how to keep their hands in bodily fluids themselves, so you want them to stay home. So 34% was last year. This year it was 24.87. So they had the largest improvement across the district. So a little over 9% better than last year in chronic absenteeism. Cherokee was 13.5 and it went down to 8.28. So they had a 5%, and anytime you have a 5% increase on something or decrease on something, that's super good. Greenwood went from a 12.05 to 8.22, so almost a 4% increase. Heritage went from a 10.66 down to 4.77. So only, 4% of their kids are chronically absent. That's the lowest rate in the district. The middle school went from 10.39 to 7.14, so they had a 3%, and that's middle school. They don't like to be at school anymore, and then you get to high school, and it went from a 10.74 to an 8, so they had an almost 3% increase. So across the district, our rate in '24 was 15.22, and this year it was 10. So we had a 5% decrease in chronic absenteeism. I don't know how that will play out on the school report card.
I thought they were
but it's
taking
good.
it out.
Well,
We don't know
that
yet?
legislation hasn't gone all the way through. So there is a piece of legislation that could take that out as an indicator for a report card, but it's not decided yet. But we wanted to reduce the number of kids who were chronically absent, and we did it. And so I'm very, very happy with what the schools did this year to get kids at school.
How many days do we have total?
165 days would kids be present, so they'd have to miss, 16 days. And when you say that, that's a
I
lot.
had one this year, he was just sick over and over and over, and she missed 18 days of school.
And and we don't, when babies are sick, we don't want them at school, and we want them healthy, we want to keep others healthy. But we want them there when they possibly can, because it's super hard for us to teach them if they are not present. We do our very best when they're home, but it's not the best way to deliver instruction. So you have to have them there with you. April child nutrition data, you heard a lot about that, but I have a little bit of information. We served 88,462 meals and 21 serving days. That's the most serving days we had all year in a month. We'll pay Chartwell's $278,000, and the other bills of $35,000. So it cost us for child nutrition this month $313,477. We'll be reimbursed $330,834. So she said we were in the black for $17,356. So we're super excited about that number. I always ask about the grab and go carts. TMS has about 25% of their students getting breakfast, and THS has 20% of their students getting breakfast on the grab and go. Also had a little bit of test, they don't have test scores yet, but we've just finished the testing season, and I got some numbers from Liza Warren, who is our testing coordinator for the district, and super excited what the schools were able to do this year on that. So at Cherokee, Greenwood, and Heritage, 100% of their students were tested.
Oh, wow.
So that is a testament to parents and the schools alike. At TMS, 99.7% are tested. Again, that's middle school students, and they are their own little tribe. So that I thought was absolutely amazing. 8th grade, every student, in 6th grade, it looks like you were missing 1, and in 7th grade, 1. So two students missed testing. So fantastic job, Miss Abby. And at high school, they had a 98.8% test rate. And so one of the things that we are also scored on as a district is the number of kids that you test. So we had a fantastic number of that. I thought it was just a good shout out to everyone that's involved in that because it is a very big process to arrange, and we look forward to seeing the results of that, but we'll know until summer, late summer, and we'll report on that as soon as we have any information. Just a couple reminders on dates. We have graduation this coming Sunday at 2 p.m. The weather forecast changes on the hour for Sunday. It's 76% rain to 20% rain to the next time it's 80%. We have to plan for both. The high school staff and Mr. Cloud have been wonderful just getting a plan because we have to have it ready for an outdoor graduation. We have to have it ready for an indoor graduation, just in case. So that will all be prepared. Kids will be given their tickets. Seniors get 5 tickets each if we have to have it indoor, and that's only kids' capacity. We can only have a certain number of people in that business building per the fire marshal, so they get 5 tickets. They're passed out on Thursday of this week, I believe. Is that correct? They did not lose those tickets, and they are not reproducible tickets. So we have. I know that's hard. It's important. It's hard to choose 5 people when you want to celebrate such a big life moment, but that's the best that we can do. We will
stream it.
It is live streamed, yes, either way, and we will make the call Sunday morning by 8 a.m. So Sunday morning, 8 a.m., we will let all of our families know on social media or email, a school messenger call, and we'll let them know if it's inside or outside. So if you are whatever you do, if you pray, if you think positive thoughts, whatever you do, put it out in the world for it to be sunshiny on Sunday. It can rain at like 4, that's fine. We just don't need it to rain before then. And then also Accent on Excellence is May 21st, next Wednesday morning. That's the first day that kids are off for the summer, and we always do an end of the year program to honor all of our staff members and the great things that have happened. So that is 8 a.m. And we're gonna work really hard to have them out by 10. We have a little time in their buildings to shore up.
Great reports. All right, item H. Discussion and vote to approve the following surplus, 1 through 4. Do I have a motion? I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Nemo?
Aye.
Dr. Conlon?
Aye.
Mrs. Crawford? Aye. And aye. Item I, business items, consent docket vote to approve the following. These are contracts, 1 through 4. And do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Any discussion? Ms. Nemo?
Aye.
Aye. Item J, discussion and vote to approve the revision of the following policies. The first policy is 6025, student transfer policy. And the second one is 6219, search of students regulation.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion on this?
Yes, so the student transfer policy, we usually do that in July, but we are doing this now because the transfer portal, so to speak, opens up on June 1. So we need to know exactly how many spots we will have. So we will go ahead and then do it this month for June 1, and then we will set it again for July. That way we're ready for transfers. On 6219, the search of students, this is a policy that we have already, that we have edited. Edited the policy to include using a wand with students in discipline next year. There are things that are have been added, are talking about suspicion of searches of students that might be students' presence at or near a vape detection monitor, which has been activated. And the policy just needed to be updated. As you know, we are working, we are in line with OSSBA to have our entire policy book rewritten. But there are there are a few schools in front of us, and policy books are very large, as you know. And so it's just not been done yet. So we will have this policy in there, and then they will, when they get to our school, they would look at that. But more than anything else, what this did for us, it added in specifically a word, when any authorized person has reasonable suspicion, the student may have the student's person or property, alcohol, dangerous weapons, vapes. Vapes had not been in the policy before, so we added that in specifically. And a lot of information just about reasonable suspicion for a search. So in deciding whether suspicion is reasonable, all the circumstances surrounding the matter should be considered. You'd be thinking about age, the history and record in school, prevalence and seriousness of the suspected violation, the school official's prior experience in detecting the problem, the need to do a search without delay. It just has very specific information added in on that. And then very specifically, just using the metal detection device to look for vapes. Often when the vape detector goes off at any of our sites, when a student is asked to empty their pockets, they don't keep the vape in their pocket. They put the vapes in other areas that are not areas that would ever be searched. And so metal detection would be helpful in that. We want all of our kids to feel safe on our campuses. We want our kids making good choices on our campuses. And quite frankly, students and vapes, it's an epidemic. And we want to help our kids not make that decision anywhere, but most specifically at school. So anything that we can do to put in to help our kids not want to make that choice is what we're trying to do here. They need help, and they don't always make the best decisions at that age when their brain is not fully formed. And so if this can help deter them from making that choice, then I think it's something that we are excited to try, and it will be helpful as a discipline measure at middle school.
Any further discussion? Mrs. Lima?
Aye.
Dr. Coffin?
Aye.
Mrs. Crawford? And aye. Item K, discussion and vote to approve the schedule of encumbrances. Motion, please.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Mrs. Lima? Aye. Dr. Coffin?
Aye.
Mrs. Crawford? I'm going to, on item L, I'm going to make the motion because list of names that need to be read and also an item that we need to strike. So motion vote to approve following personnel items 1 through 9. We are going to strike item 5, L5, reemployment under Cherokee, the name Jonah Collins. And then L2, employment, I'm going to read the names of those who have, that we have employed recently. So these names did not appear on the agenda that
Correct.
goes on out to people. All right, Danielle Shade, Office Manager, Holly Husband, SPED Teacher, Taylor Hensler, Teacher Pending Certification, Nicolette Rupert, Teacher, Avery Sellers, Paraprofessional, Clayton Wallace, Teacher Pending Certification, Ethan Tate Christian, Teacher Pending Certification, Gustavo Martinez Jr., Band Instructor, Pending Certification. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Ask, somebody was, have a child who, is employed and has his own insurance.
Can't wait till September one.
All right, any further discussion? Aye. Aye, Mrs. Crawford. Aye. And aye. Where I am. Item M, new business. And item 10, we are